Hello, I'm Barbara Levin, Executive Director of Mid-Atlantic. In anticipation of our January 30th, 2014 webinar, How Does It Feel to Look Different?, I started exploring the concept of image in our Western society. People who have the genetic disorder neurofibromatosis, which is a common and often disfiguring condition that can cause tumors to grow anywhere on the body, spend a good deal of their collective lives considering what is beautiful and the concept of self-esteem. During my research, I was fortunate enough to run across McKenzie. She also spends a good deal of time writing and considering what is beautiful and the concept of self-esteem. Not because she has NF, but Sierra is a model and an actress who resides in Seattle and has spent her career bucking the system. I wanted everyone to hear her perspective as someone who traverses the realm of the commercial beauty complex. Sierra, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Would you mind starting by describing your career and how you make a living?
Sure. I have been a full-time professional model and actress for the last 5 years. And all of my work is freelance, which means I'm not through any sort of agency. And the typical model signs a contract with an agency, and then all of their work is to the agency. I do everything on my own. I get all my own gigs. I choose which work I'm doing and which work I'm not. I choose my own comfort limits. I basically run my own business. And it's been a very interesting career that I never thought I could have.
Interesting. From the outside, most of us would consider you someone who screams self-esteem. Is that true?
I definitely don't think so. I think that when your career is at all linked to your looks, which I think can be on some level true for other careers that aren't as directly linked, but especially modeling and acting, the bar of what you need to look like is so different, and it's so extreme, and it's so specific. And so most people, if they're showing up to their day job and they have a zit, it's not the end of the world. As a model, you can have an anxiety attack if you get a zit on the wrong day, or if you feel bloated on a specific day, or whatever it is. Little things that, you know, aren't ideal become kind of scary and catastrophic when you first transition into modeling. And that's something that I've tried to really push against, because there was a point where modeling was so stressful for me and was so hard on my self-esteem. I wasn't eating right. I would panic when I got a zit. All of these things that were just grinding me down, that I finally got to the point where I quit for 3 months, and when I came back to it, I decided that if I was going to come back to it, that I was going to look like myself. I was going to have the skin that I naturally had. I would try to take care of it, but I wasn't going to do anything extreme. That I was going to let my weight fluctuate when I was going to gain weight. I wasn't going to stop modeling. And so I transitioned from trying to fit this really narrow stereotype of what a model looks like into being myself, but being very, very blunt and honest about what I look like. That, you know, I'm a size 6'8". I've been as much as 160 pounds while I've been modeling. I'm 5'7". My skin isn't always great, but I post photos of myself at my heaviest. I post photos of myself with no makeup on. And that is something that is so outside of what modeling was, like how to present yourself. But I've gotten such positive feedback. When I'm at my heaviest is when I get the most women emailing me saying, like, I can see myself in you, because it's something that's just not represented. But then in terms of the self-esteem, again, it can go up and down. Like, I get all these positive messages from women saying, like, oh, I can see myself in you. Like, it makes me feel so good about myself to see someone who looks like me. But then being out there on the internet, especially, like, I get hate mail too. Wow. Even being as open as I am about myself and where I come from and what I don't look like and what I do look like, I still get hate mail too. So it's just it's so much at once that it's definitely hard to say anyone in this kind of work has better self-esteem than other people.
There are different levels of of how brave you are, I guess. And it perhaps, am I correct? Perhaps it's easier to be the norm, to be 6 foot tall and weigh 100 pounds
Oh,
and wear
definitely.
size 0. Interesting. Who do you think makes these rules?
Well, in my industry, it is definitely a mix of agencies who literally set rules for the stats of people that they will allow to be models. Literally, height restrictions, weight restrictions, bust line, waistline, hip line. I had a cousin who was with a huge modeling agency and was making tons of money for them, really big tear sheets, and eventually quit because they told her she needed to lose another inch off her hips. And she was naturally tall, naturally skinny, 6 foot tall by the time she was 14. Like these are people that naturally almost have that body type. They're still having so much pressure put on them. So I think agencies is one of the big problems. And I think the media in general. I think it's only been really recently that there's been a big push for what is real, what is real can be beautiful. I think the Dove campaign, even places like the Huffington Post, which is I think the article you found me through, there is kind of this new focus on body image and what it is actually doing to us. I think before it's really been the last year that I've seen a lot of people starting to care. And I think that that's important because the media and agencies shouldn't be the ones to set those rules. They've obviously done a terrible job at it. They've shown us the exact same body type, the exact same face over and over and over as the only idea of what's beautiful. And obviously, we need to utilize things like the internet that give us more options.
Yes. Well, it's absolutely fascinating. It's interesting to me because no one would realize it looking at you, that you face the same sort of questions and body image issues that some of our people do, who are guaranteed not to look like anyone else or to feel like anybody else because perhaps they have a tumor or they have just an incurable condition. It is fascinating. So am I projecting correctly that you think there is hope for people who are outside the norm?
Oh, totally. In general, obviously, yes. I think even in terms of media, I think one of the things is just putting yourself out there. It is super weird and it is super risky to be the one to feel like you're crossing over a line. But I think that we need that diversity. We need people that look like a range of people, whether it's a movie or a commercial or an advertisement. That is something that I love to see, and I think especially with things like the internet, it's only going to become more and more common.
Exposure is power. Well, this is absolutely fascinating, and I could talk to you all day, which I won't do. But there are many, many, many more questions. I'm going to put your contact information. I am so grateful. I know you will hopefully be joining us at our January 30th, 2014 webinar, How Does It Feel to Look Different? And you've given us a whole new perspective. We're so grateful. Thank you so much, Sierra, and good luck.
Thank you.